It all started on a quiet Sunday morning. Sunlight streamed through my kitchen window, spilling golden warmth across the countertop where my small potted plant sat. It was a modest Thinger leafy pothos I'd bought 2 years ago on a whim. I named it Luna, after the moon, because its variegated leaves reminded me of moonlight filtering through clouds. I watered it regularly, dusted its leaves, and even talked to it occasionally when no one was around. But that morning, Luna talked back. I was sipping my coffee when it happened. "You water me too much," a soft voice said. The mug froze in my hand. I looked around the kitchen. The window was open, but the street outside was empty. The voice came again, clearer this time, gentle, calm, but unmistakably real. "Please stop overwatering me. My roots can't breathe." I nearly dropped the cup. "Who said that?" "I did," the voice replied patiently. "Luna, your plant." I stared at it, speechless. The leaves rustled slightly, though there was no breeze. My heart raced, torn between disbelief and awe. Was I hallucinating, sleep-deprived, losing my mind? "Okay," I whispered, setting the coffee down. "If this is a dream, I'm at least going to enjoy it." Luna chuckled. Or maybe it was just the sound of a leaf brushing the pot. You humans always assume you're dreaming when you finally listen. "Listen," I repeated. "Yes, we've always been talking. You just don't hear us." Her words sent chills through me. I had read studies about how plants communicate through chemical signals, releasing scents to warn others of danger or attract pollinators, but this was different. This was conversation. I leaned closer. "So you can actually talk?" "In a way," Luna replied, "not like you do. My language isn't made of words. But sometimes, when a human's heart is quiet enough, we can connect. Today, you were quiet." I blinked. It was true. I'd woken up unusually calm that morning. No phone, no music, no distractions, just the hum of the world. Maybe, in that silence, something had opened. "So," I said carefully, "what do plants talk about?" Luna's leaves trembled slightly, mostly about growth. The warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of rain, the music of roots underground. We talk to each other through the soil, warning of drought, sharing nutrients, whispering to saplings. But when we speak to humans... She paused, as if searching for the right word. "It's usually because we have something important to remind you." I leaned forward. "Remind us of what?" "That you belong to nature, not above it." Her tone was serene but firm. I felt something deep inside me stir a quiet guilt. For years, I'd treated nature like scenery, something to visit, not something to be part of. Luna continued, "You humans forget that you breathe what we create. Your heart beats because we release air. Your comfort comes from our shade, your food from our fruit. Yet you act as if you can live without us." Her words weren't angry, just sorrowful. I didn't know how to respond. "I'm sorry," I said softly. "I guess I've been distracted." "That's all right," Luna said kindly. "You're listening now. That's how healing begins." I sat there for what felt like hours, asking questions. Luna told me about her favorite sunlight late morning, when the light is warm but not harsh. She described how she could sense the vibrations of my footsteps and recognize my voice by the pattern of my breath. When you talk to me, she said, your voice changes. It becomes softer, slower. You may not know it, but you calm yourself when you speak to plants. I laughed, amazed. So, plants are therapists now. In a way, she replied, we teach patience. You can't rush a leaf to grow or a seed to bloom. We remind you that time isn't your enemy, it's your companion. Her words sank deep. I had always rushed through life-chasing goals, scrolling through endless distractions, filling silence with noise. But sitting there, listening to my plant, time felt still. Eventually, I asked, why talk to me now after all this time? Luna's leaves shimmered faintly in the light. Because you've been restless. I can feel it. You move around your home like a storm, looking for purpose. I wanted to remind you that purpose doesn't always require movement. Sometimes it's about rooting where you are. I swallowed hard. She was right. For months, I'd felt lost, unsure of direction. Her words, though simple, cut through the confusion like sunlight through fog. The rest of the day passed in peaceful wonder. I tended to Luna carefully, draining excess water, cleaning her leaves, whispering thanks. Each time I spoke, I could almost sense her listening, not with ears, but with attention. As evening arrived, the sky painted the walls with orange light. I asked her one last question before bed. Do you ever feel lonely, staying in one place? There was a pause. Then she said, no, we don't see stillness as loneliness. We see it as connection. When you root deeply, you touch everything: soil, air, light, life. You humans move so much, you forget that stillness can also be a kind of freedom. Her answer lingered in my mind as I drifted off to sleep. The next morning, I rushed to the kitchen, half afraid it had all been a dream. Luna sat there, radiant in the sunlight, silent. I waited, whispered her name, but there was no reply. Just the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. Part of me was disappointed. Another part smiled, realizing it didn't matter. She had already said everything I needed to hear. From that day forward, I treated my home differently. I placed plants in every corner, not as decoration, but as company. I watered them with care, paused to notice their quiet growth, and learned to match my breathing with the rhythm of still leaves. Over time, I realized that Luna had given me more than a conversation. She had given me awareness. I began noticing small details everywhere: the scent of wet soil after rain, the tiny curve of a sprouting leaf, the way sunlight traveled across a room. I understood now that communication wasn't always verbal. Sometimes it was about presence, about listening without expecting words. And though Luna never spoke again, every morning when sunlight touched her leaves, I could almost feel her whisper through the air: grow slowly, breathe deeply, stay rooted. Since then, I've often wondered if that day was magic, imagination, or something in between. But maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the line between science and mystery is thinner than we think. Maybe plants have been talking all along, waiting for us to listen not with our ears, but with our hearts. And every time I walk past Luna, now taller and greener than ever, I smile. Because whether or not she speaks again, I'll always remember the day she didn't, the lesson she left behind, that in the quiet, living world around us, everything is speaking. We just have to slow down enough to hear it.